Good morning, welcome back to the channel. Another glorious sunny day in Scotland. It's Friday the 9th of August, and as you can see, although the BBC weather this morning was talking about 23 to 25 degrees, here in West Lothian it is 12.5 degrees and we have what's called liquid sunshine. So not to worry, not the greatest conditions for an EV, but I thought I'd do two things this morning. I thought I would show the efficiency I get and how I get it on my normal daily commute, because I'm going to work this morning. And then I also thought I would answer the number one question that I get asked on all my videos. And that is this phone holder. What is it? Where do I get it? Where can I buy one? Unfortunately, this one isn't available for sale anymore, I don't think. It's on, I bought it on Amazon, but the company that made it do still have other models. So I can't give you a link, but I can tell you the manufacturer. It is Miracase, Miracase, Miracase. And I do know that they've got other models available, but this one, the kind you're looking for, or one similar to it, it's got a suction mount which is designed to attach to a windscreen, I believe, and on the other end it's got a magnetic swivel mount here. Obviously the magnetic part attaches to the phone, and the suction mount can attach to the back of the Enyaq's screen. So there you are, that's the number one question answered. Miracase. Now the second thing I said I would concentrate on was the efficiency. And I haven't got the car in eco mode, it's just jump in and put it into D mode. I do have the climate control set. Somebody gave me this tip a few months ago, that if you put it on low and the air conditioning is off, then basically that kills off any chance of the heating working. I don't need heating, although it's 12.5 degrees outside today. I'm not hot, I'm not cold. I'm also certainly not hot, so I don't need the aircon on. So what I've done, you probably saw it a second or two ago, I've got a bit of fresh air blowing on me. I've also got the windscreen with some air on it, and I've set the fan to 2 and the temperature is set to low. So about the route, I'm leaving from Livingston, I'm heading into the west side of Edinburgh. Over the course of the next 11 or 12 miles, I will drop something like 70 metres, 80 metres from memory. So it's not downhill. In fact, right now, I don't know if you're able to pick it up on the camera, but I am heading uphill. So it's up and downhill, but over the course of the 12 miles, probably drops about 70, 80 metres. So yes, overall the route is downhill, and therefore you can expect good efficiency. I have been seeing typically in this car between 5 and 6 miles per kilowatt hour. On the previous car it was more like 4 to 4.5. So my conclusion is that although this has got a heavier battery, a bigger battery, the new motor is, as has been claimed by Škoda, more efficient. But in terms of general techniques, I get asked this often, especially on Enyaq Facebook groups where people are posting efficiency figures, they're worrying about it, what figures they're getting. I just have my normal sort of feathering of the throttle. So at the moment, the car is coasting along because it's in D mode, so automatic regen. I've actually just taken my foot off the pedal. The car is staying at just a couple of miles under 50 miles an hour, which is the speed limit, and there's a slight blue element there showing as it's regenning very, very slightly. I also happen to know there's traffic lights coming up ahead. You can see there on the sat nav that there's a junction, and so I know I can see those lights have turned to amber at the moment. So I'm really, although the car is slowing down now to 45, there's no point in me using the accelerator, so I'm just staying right off the throttle, and in fact the car's going too quickly and I'm going to use the paddles to bring regen up. So one thing I've noticed on this car, the regen isn't quite as aggressive at kicking in. I'm not sure if it's because the I'm not sure why it is, to be honest. The old car, it would read that there was a junction ahead, it would read that there was traffic and so on, and it would kick in a lot sooner. This one, I haven't yet driven it enough to be able to work out any kind of pattern, but certainly there, the car was not starting to slow down at all, so I had to manually add the regen with the paddles. Okay, so taking off again. I'm not going aggressively because there's another set of red lights which are now going to green, and also up ahead there's roadworks, so there may well be some congestion there. It is certainly a 30 mile an hour limit. The car has just recognised that, and the car is slowing down now because it's slowing me down to 30. And obviously it's detected that Qashqai in front, but not enough. I am going to have to use the brake pedal, which does regen. I mean, you can use the paddles, or you can use the pedal. What the brake pedal do is it initially uses regen, and then it blends in the friction brakes if it has to. And already you can see we've managed so far, and I reset it to 0 before I started, 4.7 miles per kilowatt hour. You really can't complain about that. Not at 12.5 degrees. It's not a really hot sunny day, but it's just all about driving gently, anticipating the road ahead. If you don't know the road, clearly that's harder to do. The car will do some of it, as I've said, although this latest software I'm not convinced is doing it quite as proactively as it did before, but like I say, I haven't had enough experience yet with this one to work out if that's the case. Anyway, for the rest of this trip, I'm pretty much going to just talk you through what I'm doing, but I've given away all the secrets already. Anticipate the road ahead, read the road conditions, be gentle on the throttle, both when you're accelerating away from a standing start and also when you're kind of in the cruise. So you can switch off now because I'm not going to tell you anything different, but it'll just illustrate on this route the rest of the places where I do that. So again, taking off slowly through these roadworks. It's a 30 mile an hour limit anyway. It doesn't apply to Nissan drivers apparently, but it's for the safety of the road workers, so if that's what's been decided, I'm fine with that. It's actually quite hard to stay at 30. I managed to get up to 34 there, so it is quite hard with the power in these cars. So we're now back up to 50 mile an hour limit. They haven't put signs out to say that, so the car hasn't detected it, so it's going to keep thinking it's a 30 until it reads this one, slightly obscured by the bush. Yep, car's detected 50. So again, I've got very, very slight pressure on the throttle, so on the little green and blue bar that shows regen and acceleration on the dash, you can barely see a little sliver of green, but I have got my foot on the throttle, but very, very, very slightly. And I'm just keeping it under 50. Not because I'm trying to, it's just the comfortable position for my foot. There we are, we're at 49. And I do know there's another set of traffic lights coming up ahead. Those are at red, so I can see them at red now. I'm going to lift my foot off because I know that will have enough to coast there, and if they go to green, I can apply throttle again. Yep, so this car is not slowing down yet. It's not even attempting to, so I'm going to apply paddles maximum regen, and now I'm actually going to use the physical brakes, but again it's using regen until the very end there when the regen dropped off and the physical brakes were used. So I think maybe I'm either not... Actually, there's one thing. I haven't really studied the manual yet because it's so similar to my previous car, but on my previous car there was a symbol would come up telling you to take your foot off the throttle. That doesn't seem to be as regular an occurrence on this car as it was on the old one, but I think, and in a brief skim of the manual I did see that if you... Yeah, it's now come up. If you have the adaptive cruise set to on, but not actually triggered, but the stalk is engaged, then that symbol will not come up. So it has come up now. I've switched to cruise off, and the car is slowing down because we're into a 30 mile an hour limit here. I'll put a little bit of power on because there's uphill there, which has scrubbed some speed off. but through this village it's a 30. So out of courtesy to the residents, I'll stay at 30 or 32. I haven't got any power on whatsoever. We're now into 50, so I can apply a throttle again, and off we go. So it's starting to, there's little bits of downhill here, not masses. So again, I can see lights up ahead. I've just taken my foot off the throttle because I'm pretty sure they're going to change, or maybe not, so I'll just continue accelerating. But again, we're downhill here, very slightly downhill, and so I don't really need to do much. I applied a bit of throttle there before I went through the lights. Taking my foot off now. The car's accelerating, but also regenning, so I'm gaining speed and regen at the same time. But I do know that there's some bends up ahead here, slow written on the road, and also there's a zigzag bend warning up on the screen of the car. And that, without any braking whatsoever, is enough to slow me to go around this corner. About 40 miles an hour, quite comfortable. There's also a truck ahead. Why bother using power just to then have to scrub it off with brakes? The car's detected that truck and it's now slowed me down. And we're uphill again, so I'll have to use some throttle, but not masses, because there were signs there saying there's a 30 mile an hour limit ahead, a new limit, and there's this truck in the way. So we're going to probably reach the dizzy heights of 33 miles an hour behind him anyway. I'm going to turn up the frequency of the wipers, the auto wipers. He's at 35, so he's braking because there's a 30 mile an hour limit. My car should actually do the same, although it's going slightly downhill, so it's accelerated, or gained speed rather, to 36. But we're uphill now, so that'll scrub the speed off back to 30. So I'm really basically trying to use as little of either of the pedals as I possibly can. I say I'm trying, I'm not particularly consciously doing this. I've been driving an EV now for 7 years, so it's just kind of second nature now. And again, if you can see on the screen, I hope the camera's making it out, that's 5.4 miles per kilowatt hour. The spot down below it, you can see as I'm going uphill here, it's down to, well, it was down at 1.8. I've taken my foot off the throttle. It's regenning at between 10, 6, or 24 miles per kilowatt hour there. So that's what's helping. Those little increments is helping the overall figure drift up. Again, we're at 30 miles an hour. I've got no power on, and my foot's just hovering over the accelerator, ready for sections like this where we're going uphill. Well, there's another blue Enyaq. So we're going uphill, so I'll just apply a little bit of power, but it's really struggling to stay under the speed limit. Thankfully, we're now back up to 50. Although our HGV friend in front is still going to limit what we can do. We're cruising at a breakneck speed of 40 miles an hour now. But again, because he's in front, I've just taken my foot off the throttle and the car will coast. And this is the difference between A mode and B mode, or sorry, D mode and P mode. If I was in B mode, the moment I lift my foot off, then the car would regen. I don't want to do that. It's more efficient to just not use any power than it is to use power and then recover a tiny proportion of it. So, slight downhill here. So I've taken my foot off the pedal and we're just maintaining a steady distance behind this truck. And he's braking because again, it really starts to go downhill here and there are some bends. So he's going to want to control his speed going through that, I guess, in a big vehicle. So no power whatsoever going down here. We're just coasting. So this is downhill. We hit the bottom here where we cross this bridge, and then we obviously go uphill. So at the bottom here we're 5.7 miles per kilowatt hour on average. Obviously use some power to get up. Auto lights kick in because it's so dark. It's another feature I've not had a chance to really try yet, the Matrix LED headlights. Yeah, and we're now back towards the top. We get back on the level again, and we've gone from 5.7 down to 5.4. So you can see it's up and down, literally up and down, but also in terms of the figures. But again, we're on the flat here. There's a truck in front. I would do the same if I was at 50, but I'm at 40. I just lightly touch the throttle to maintain the speed, but the cruising, the coasting rather, does work really well. Take my foot off because he's braking. Still not using any power, any throttle whatsoever, and there's a very slight element of regen. So I'm not so much bothered about the speed at this point as trying to maintain a distance behind this guy, because obviously it's a wet day. I'm just going to get covered in all sorts of spray off the road if I get any closer. Speed limit's down to 40, so he's braking, although we're at 40 anyway, so I'm not quite sure why. Very slight dip there, so that's helped gain a little bit of speed. And what I'm going to do up here, I'm going to overtake him because I can. The road will broaden out into 2 lanes. Indicate out, pull past him. And again, the sign telling me there's a roundabout and to take my foot off the accelerator has come up. The car is slowing down much more aggressively now. In fact, too aggressively. I'm going to take the power off, or the regen off. Just try and coast around this roundabout. Okay, so a bit of power here. Then again, I know there's another big roundabout up ahead, I can see it. So there's always traffic lights red there. I'm going to take my foot off the power and basically coast up. The car's told me to take my foot off the power. And then at the end of this bus lane I can indicate into the left. But again, no power on whatsoever. Car is slowing me down. Lights have gone to green. So I'll put the power slightly back on. Well, I had to brake there to get through that and put too much power on. A lot of cars pulling off here to the left, so I'll just slow to let them get out of the way. Power on, slightly uphill. And I'm going to turn left at the next roundabout up ahead. I can see it on the sat nav. So again, power off, the car will coast. There's a little bit of power on. Now the car's told me to take power off. So just by paying attention to that symbol on the dash, you can get much better efficiency, because the car knows how far that roundabout is. It's worked out it can coast along there. The lights have gone to red anyway, so I'm probably going to have to apply regen with the paddles. Yes, I am. Apply them. That'll bring the car to a halt. Oh, not quite. Lights have gone to green, so we can apply power and get around the corner. Very slight downhill here. So a little bit of juice to get us going, then power off, and we can just coast down here on adaptive regen. It spotted that Audi turning, so it's slowing us down. It also knows I'm going to turn left here, so again it knows that and it's slowing me down. Not quite enough because I'd overridden it with a bit of power, but paddles will soon bring that back down. And there we are, almost at work, and 6 miles per kilowatt hour. So I hope that's been useful. Very, very dull. I feel like a driving instructor describing what I'm doing, but hopefully useful and gives you a few illustrations on how you can get the most efficiency out of your car. However, you don't really need to. I would just say get in and drive it and enjoy it. But hopefully it answers some questions.